Welcome to Personal Web Tutor. Today's problem is physics, and it begins with Timothy. He drives to Disneyland, which is about 80 kilometers away, and on the way there he drives half of the distance at 60 kilometers an hour and the other half at 40 kilometers per hour. Then on the way back, he drives home at half the time at 60 kilometers an hour and the other half of the time at 40 kilometers an hour. So the question is, what is his average velocity on the way there, on the way back, and for the complete trip? So the first part of this trip is on the way there, and we're going to be going at 60 kilometers per hour for 40 kilometers. And then we're going to be going 40 kilometers per hour for the other 40 kilometers. This one here should seem pretty basic. If you're going to go 40 kilometers an hour and you're going to go 40 kilometers, then we know that the time is going to be equal to 1 hour. But this one up here, the other one, we're going to do a little calculation. I know that v equals x over t, and that translates into t equals x over v. So I'm going to substitute those two things in, and I get t is equal to 40 kilometers over 60 kilometers per hour. So I get t is equal to 0.67 hours. Therefore, the total time for this is 1.67 hours. That's how long it took us to go the 80 kilometers, or Timothy to go 80 kilometers to Disneyland. Now, the distance that he traveled, so we're looking for this average velocity. The distance he traveled was 80 kilometers, and it was divided by 1.67 hours. And that equates to 47.9 kilometers per hour. That would be the average velocity on the way there. Next, we're going to solve the next problem, which is what about on the way back? So here's the thing with on the way back, is he took half of the time. So I know that at the first velocity, he took some time and he got some distance. And then I know for the second velocity, he took the same time, because they're equal, and he got another distance. And I know that distance 1 plus distance 2 is equal to 80 kilometers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two together. And I'm going to say the first velocity plus times that time plus the second velocity times that same time is equal to 80 kilometers, that total distance. So let's substitute in. We get v1 plus v2. I'm going to factor out that t is equal to 80. And I know my v1 plus v2, it's 60 kilometers per hour plus 40 kilometers per hour is equal to 80 kilometers. And this is all times t. So I got 100 kilometers an hour times t is equal to 80 kilometers. I'm going to divide by the 100 kilometers an hour. It's going to leave me with t on this side. I keep my 80 kilometers on this side, and I'm going to multiply by that reciprocal. And notice these cancel. And I'm left with 0.8 hours. This means that half of the time is 0.8 hours, which means the full time total is equal to 1.6 hours. So we go back to our equation. The average velocity is equal to the total displacement, 80 kilometers, divided by 1.6 hours. And that gives us 50 kilometers per hour. Now we get to the third part, which is for the whole trip. And so for the whole trip, we just want to add the total distance, which is going to be 2 times the 80 kilometers, because we went there and we went back. So that's going to give us 160 kilometers. And then we also found out the time, the total time. So the time on the way there, remember, was 1.67 hours. And this time on the way back was 1.6 hours. So that gives us a total of 3.27 hours. Therefore, the average velocity for the whole trip is equal to 160 kilometers divided by 3.27 hours, which gives us 48.93 kilometers an hour. There you have it. So if you got any questions about what we just did here, feel free to go to our website at personalwebtutor.com, and you see this little ask a question here. You can go there and click, and you'll come up to a form. Once you come to this form, you can input your name, information, and then your question. And you never know, maybe your question will be my next video. Thank you.